Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining us today. Wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhava, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Gaurnitai, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. Today is Rukmini Dwadasi, an appearance day of Rukmini, Srimati Rukmini. So we wanted to just have a look at this incredible devotee of the Lord. This is a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 474 and 75. Krishna Kanta Gana Dekhi Trividha Prakara Eka Lakshmi Gana Pure Mahisi Gana Ara Vrajan Gana Rupa Ara Kanta Gana Sara Shiradika Haite Kanta Ganera Vistara. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds. The goddesses of fortune. So this is the Lakshmi Devi, the queens, like Rukmini, and the milkmaids of Vraj, who are the foremost of all. These consorts all proceed from Radhika. So Radhika is the source of all the goddesses of fortune, the queens, the gopis, etc. Who is Rukmini then? Of all queens, Krishna's queens in Dwarka, Rukmini is the first and one of the principal queens. Ultimately, she is an expansion of Srimati Radharani. All of Rukmini's qualities are present in Radharani, although Radharani manifests some qualities that Rukmini doesn't. Rukmini was the daughter of Bhishmaka, the king of Vidarbha. He wanted to marry Rukmini to Krishna, but Rukmi, one of the Rukmini's 5 brothers, strongly opposed it. Rukmi was an ambitious prince, envious of Krishna. Instead, he wanted her married to his friend, Shishupal, the crown prince of Chedi and the cousin of Krishna. Shishupal was friends also with Jarasandha, king of Magad, and Rukmi was aligned with them. So this is all politics. Rukmi didn't care for his sister. He wanted to just make sure that his position was protected. Rukmini had fallen in love with and longed for Krishna, whose virtue, character, charm, and greatness she had heard much of from sages and devotees who visited. So she never seen him, she never met him, but she knew she wanted him because she'd heard from the sages what Krishna was like. Rukmini's parents gave in to Rukmi, but Rukmini, who had overheard the conversation, was horrified. She wrote a letter to Krishna and immediately sent for a Brahmin called Sunanda, whom she trusted, and asked him to deliver that letter to Krishna. So this letter is read in the Dwarkadish temple in Dwarka every day. So this is actually the Brahmin coming back. Anyway, this is Rukmini and the Brahmin. And the Brahmin meets with Krishna, gives him the letter. What did she write? So, Naniben, would you like to read what Rukmini wrote to Krishna?
Rukmani's wrote Srimad Bhagavatam 10.52.37 to 43. O beauty of the words, having heard of your qualities, which enter the ears of those who hear and remove their bodily distress, and having also heard of your beauty, which fulfills all the visual desires of those who see, I have fixed my shameless mind upon you, O Krishna. O Mukunda, you are equal only to yourself in lineage, character, beauty, knowledge, youthfulness, wealth, and influence. O lion among men, you delight the minds of all mankind. What aristocratic, sober-minded, and marriageable girl of a good family would not choose you as her husband when the proper time has come? Therefore, my dear Lord, I have chosen you as my husband, and I surrender myself to you. Please come swiftly, O Almighty One, and make me your wife. My dear lotus-eyed Lord, let Shishupal never touch the hero's portion like a jackal stealing the property of a lion. If I have sufficiently worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead by pious works, sacrifices, charity, rituals, and vows, and also, and also by worshipping the demigods, brahmanas, and gurus, then may Gada Graja come and take my hand, and not Damakosha's son or anyone else. O unconquerable one, tomorrow, when my marriage ceremony is about to begin, you should arrive unseen in Vidarbha and surround yourself with the leaders of your army. Then crush the forces of Chaitya and Magadhendra and marry me in the Raksha style, winning me with your valor. Since I'll be staying within the inner chambers of the palace, you may wonder, how can I carry you away without killing some of your relatives? I shall tell you a way. On the day before the marriage, there is a grand procession to honor the royal family's deity, and in the procession, a new bride goes outside the city to visit the goddess Girija. O lotus-eyed one, great souls like Lord Shiva hankered to bed in the dust of your lotus feet and thereby destroy their ignorance. If I cannot obtain your mercy, I shall simply give up my vital force, which will have become weak from severe penances I will perform. Then I can't see the last line.
Oh, okay. Then after hundreds of lifetimes of endeavor, I may obtain your mercy. Thank you, Nariman. Thank you very much. So this is actually the Parvati deity that Girija, that Rukmini would worship before the wedding. Krishna, having received the message in Dwarka, immediately set out for Vidarbha. So he read the letter that the Brahman gave him, and he liked the letter very much. And he spoke wonderful words, sweet words to the Brahman, telling him that she does not have to worry. So, and Balaram, his elder brother, came with the Yadav army because he knew there would be trouble from Rukmini and his friends. Meanwhile, Shishupal was overjoyed at the news from Rukmini that Rukmini wanted him to marry Rukmini. And he also set off for Vidarbha to claim Rukmini. Jarasandh, not so trusting, sent all his allies along because he felt that Krishna would certainly come to snatch Rukmini away. There were so many rumors flying around. Everybody is scared of each other, apart from Krishna and Balaram, of course. Bhishmaka, the father of Rukmini, and Rukmini received the news Krishna was coming by their respective spies. So the Rukmini, of course, heard from her Brahmin friends. Bhishmaka secretly approved of Krishna and wished that he would take Rukmini. Rukmini welcomed his guests, Shishupal, etc., joyfully, made them comfortable. Meanwhile, at the palace, Rukmini got ready for her upcoming marriage. Although the Brahmin had informed her that Krishna agreed to come, she was disappointed and fearful or tearful that no news yet that Krishna had actually come. But then her left thigh, arm, and eye twitched, and she took that as an auspicious omen. She apprehensively went to the temple to offer her obeisances to goddess Ambika, consort of Lord Shiva. As she stepped out, she saw Krishna, and he soon swept her into his chariot with him. They both started to ride off. When Shishupal noticed them, all of Jarasandh's forces quickly started chasing them. Balaram and the Yadav army fought and held them on his own, except Rukmini. So this is Krishna. And kidnapping Rukmini. Beautiful chariot, beautiful horses. You see arrows flying everywhere. They're all in pursuit, but then Balaram stops them. But he let Rukmini go. Rukmini caught up with Krishna, and Rukmini and Rukmini and Rukmini and Krishna, and dueled with Krishna, with the inevitable result that Krishna won. Rukmini used abusive and offensive words for Rukmini, for which Krishna was about to kill him. But Rukmini fell at the feet of Krishna and begged that her brother's life be spared. Krishna, generous as always, agreed. But as punishment, he shaved Rukmini's head, let him go free. There's no greater shame for a warrior than a visible sign of defeat. He gave him a shave. He left some hair. He looked really crazy. There you go. Then Krishna and Rukmini came to Madhavpur gate near Porbandar and married. A temple for Rukmini Krishna exists at this place, where there is an annual wedding ceremony. At Dwarka, Krishna and Rukmini were then welcomed with great pomp and ceremony. So this is...
Prabhuji,
yes.
we have been to this temple in Madhavpur.
Ah, nice. Very good.
Long time back, but unfortunately the time the temple was closed, but that is when the wedding took place in Madhavpur.
Very good.
That's where my father was born. That's town.
Okay, wow, amazing.
It's very, very nice.
So how close is that to Porbandar?
I think it's that it's in Western India, Western part of the country. Porbandar, I don't think it is that far. I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know the distance, and I don't know how. Probably a couple of hours, I think.
Right. Okay, thank you for that. And that was a long time ago, huh?
Yes, that was about nearly 10 years ago.
Ah, okay, very good. Wonderful. So this is Lord Brahma conducting the ceremony. And I think this is the temple outside Porbandar. So I don't know if you recognize this at all. But,
it's more like a temple complex with the sort of dome on the top ends.
Yeah.
I don't recognize these black structures, no.
Yeah, looks old. Rukmini wanted Krishna, but along with Krishna, she got a beautiful palace. There are descriptions in the Bhagavatam of the extraordinary opulence of Dwarka, and so many nice children and servants and maidservants, and so much affluence. Actually, there is no harm in opulence as long as Krishna is in the center. So this is the most important thing. There is another instruction on the narration of Rukmini and Krishna in the Bhagavatam. A chaste and faithful wife will follow her husband. If he is in an opulent position, so be it. Or if the circumstances he falls into, due to circumstances he falls into a poor condition, still she will stay with him. And sometimes it happens that the poor husband, by the grace of Krishna, becomes opulent. So the example is, of course, Sudama, which Sudama Vipra was Krishna's friend from when they were students in the Gurukul of Sandipani Muni. He was a peaceful and learned Brahmin, detached from sense enjoyment. But he ended up being very poor. One day, Sudama's wife, weak from hunger and distressed, more for her husband's sake than for her own, implored him. The Supreme Lord Krishna is nearby in Dwarka. He's a personal friend of yours, and he's compassionate to the Brahmins. Why don't you approach him? He will surely give you, a suffering householder, abundant wealth. But Sudama was more interested in just being a devotee. He didn't want to be wealthy. Sudama was not very keen on asking for something material from Krishna, but he did like the idea of seeing him. In accordance with proper etiquette, he wanted to take a gift for Krishna. He asked his wife if there was anything in the house that he could take. They had nothing. They had nothing. So she begged 4 handfuls of flat rice from neighboring Brahmins, tied it into a torn piece of cloth, and gave it to her husband as a present for Krishna. Then Sudama set out to Dwarka, constantly thinking of Krishna. When Lord Krishna caught sight of the Brahmin, he immediately stood up, went forward to meet him, embraced him with great pleasure. And this was a real surprise to everybody in the palace, because they were thinking, who's this poor Brahmin with torn clothes, dirty-looking Brahmin come? And Krishna's welcoming him so nicely. He seated him very nicely on his own bedstead and washed his feet, while Rukmini, the goddess, divine goddess of fortune herself, personally fanned the poor Brahmin. This is an amazing sight. There you go. There's Rukmini fanning him, Krishna offering him fruits. After some affectionate philosophical talks about their times in the service of their guru, Krishna asked his friend, "What gift have you brought me?" Sudama felt so ashamed and embarrassed, he simply remained silent and bowed his head. Then the Lord, who knew everything, snatched the flakes of chipped rice, tied in an old cloth, and exclaimed, "What is this?" He ate a palmful of the rice. But when he was about to eat a second, Queen Rukmini caught hold of his hand and said, "No, one palmful is enough. So much wealth will accrue for Sudama." Sudama spent the night in Krishna's palace. Next day, after being duly honored by the Lord, without having asked him for any material benefit, he set off for his home. Walking along the road, he felt blissful, satisfied just by the Lord's darshan. And he thought that the merciful Lord, considering that if he suddenly became rich, he would become intoxicated with material happiness and forget him, had not granted him even the slightest wealth. Thus the Brahmin eventually reached home. In place of his former meager residence, however, he found a celestial palace with beautiful gardens and servants and maidservants. He was shocked. He didn't know what was going on. Sudama's wife came forward to greet him. She looked just like the goddess of fortune herself. Without Sudama having asked Krishna for anything, without Krishna having told Sudama that he would give him anything, Krishna gave him more than Sudama or his wife could ever have imagined. And the beauty was, Sudama never forgot Krishna. So this is a problem with wealth. It can make you intoxicated with this material life, and you can forget Krishna. But Sudama was very fortunate. Very, very fortunate. So there's another pastime with Rukmini, the weight of Tulasi. One day, Narad Muni tells Satyabhama that Krishna loves Rukmini more than her. This angered Satyabhama, who takes pride in her beauty and believes she has control over Krishna's heart more than anyone else. She accepted a Tulabharan challenge. This is the scales where you sit on one side and on the other side you put other things to weigh. So she accepted this challenge. If she loses, Krishna would be donated to Narad. And if she won, then it would prove that Krishna loves her the most. So on one side was Krishna, on the other side was jewelry, wealth. She put her wealth on one side of the balance and asked Krishna to occupy the other. So the point was the wealth, Krishna should be more heavier. The wealth should be heavier than Krishna, otherwise she'd lose. So they put a lot of wealth. Everything was on the Tula. But it did not outweigh Krishna. It did not outweigh Krishna. They put as much wealth as they had. Everything was there. And then Satyabhama was a little scared. We're going to lose Krishna. Narad's going to take him. So she approached Rukmini. What should we do? On seeing her husband on the tulla, Rukmini stepped in. On learning about the challenge, Rukmini plucked one leaf of Tulasi and placed it on the wealth pile on the tulla. And finally, Krishna gets outweighted by Tulasi. This shows the intelligence of Rukmini, but it shows how powerful Tulasi is in the service of the Lord. Very powerful. There you go. So just Tulsi alone there is more heavier than Krishna. Amazing. There's another pastime which involves Rukmini and Satyabhama, which is in relation to the Parijat flower. Indra planted the Parijat wish-fulfilling tree, one of the products of the churning of the ocean of milk, in his garden in the heavens. Narad, who delighted in creating wonderful pastimes, brought a flower of this tree to Dwarka and presented to Krishna. He waited to see which of his wives Krishna would give the flower to. Krishna gave it to Rukmini, upon which Narad went to Satyabhama, informing her that he had presented Krishna with a Parijat flower, thinking he would in turn present it to her, his favorite wife, but was grieved to find that he had given it to Rukmini instead. This is Narad Muni causing some interesting pastime to take place. Satyabhama, known for her great pride in being Krishna's consort, found her jealousy aroused and so asked Krishna, Narad, what could be done? The sage advised her to ask Krishna to bring the Parijat tree itself to Dwarka and plant it in her garden. After this advice, giving this advice, he informed Indra that thieves were about to come. He should guard the Parijat tree with care. So this is Narad Muni in his classic role of winding up everybody. Krishna tried to console Satyabhama. She replied that she would not be satisfied with anything less than the Parijat tree itself. Krishna took her to Indra's garden in the heavens. He uprooted the Parijat tree and stole it. Mounted on Garud, they escaped with the tree, but Indra, warned by Narad, followed in pursuit, resulting in a fierce battle in which Indra was defeated and Krishna took the tree to Dwarka. Krishna still had the problem of fulfilling the promise to Satyabhama without offending Rukmini, but he solved it by planting the tree in such a position that when its roots and trunks lay within Satyabhama's garden, its branches extended over the adjoining palace of Rukmini, covering it with flowers every day. So this is the beauty of Krishna. He can satisfy everybody at the same time. And then there's another pastime with Rukmini, where Krishna teases her. Because she was always very sweet and obedient to the Lord wanted to play with her. He decides to play with his beloved Queen Rukmini. He wanted to make her angry. She would never get angry, but he wanted to make her angry. He playfully asked her why she wanted to marry. Why did she want to marry the Lord, who was just a cowherd boy? She had better choices, like King Shishupal, Shalva, Sarasan. Hearing this, Rukmini was shocked, and she faints, and the Lord consoles her. Once she realizes that the Lord was only joking, she fulfilled the Lord's desire and became angry and countered all his arguments. So the Lord gave many reasons why she should have married somebody else. And then Rukmini counteracted all of those reasons. Very beautiful conversation between the two in the 10th canto. So connection between Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka and Vrindavan. The sixth Goswamis explained that Radharani manifests as Satyabhama and Chandravali's manifests as Rukmini. And the reason for this is that there is a particular mood that is displayed by the queens for the pleasure of Krishna. Satyabhama's mood is to challenge Krishna, and Rukmini's mood is very submissive to the Lord. And he enjoys that contrast between the two. He enjoys the Leela that takes place. So there are many names of Rukmini. Ruchiranana, Vidharbi, Ruchi, and we don't know. Hriya, Rida, Sati, which means exalted, or saintly character. The other ones are Shy, whose face is charming, Princess of Vidarbha, one who has a beautiful face like the lotus flower. Lakshana, possessing auspicious bodily markings. Buddhi, possessing intelligence. Auradhya, magnanimous. Shila, of perfect behavior. Sadrasham, Bharavyam, ideal wife. Devim, the divine goddess. Asita Pangi, dark-eyed. Mohinim, enchanting. Mahati, aristocratic. Dhira, sober. Kulavati, good family. Lakshna Bijana, an expert knower of bodily symptoms. Arodita, having rendered devotion service. Mat Param Atma Arpitas, dedicated exclusively to Krishna. Anavadyangim, Sobhan, of flawless beauty. Shushismita, sweetly smiling. Vararoha, of lovely hips. Bimba Phala Adha, glowing Bimba red lips. Shyama, firm breasts. Kalantim, Kalamsa, walking with the motions of a royal swan. Sumadhyamam, shapely waist. Govinda Hitamanasa, whose mind is stolen by Krishna. Gunashrayam, a repository of all good qualities. So the first son of Rukmini was Padumna, and also born of her was Charudeshna, Sudeshna, and the powerful Charudeha, along with Sucharu, Charugupta, Bhadracharu, Charuchandra, Vicharu, and Charu, the 10th. So 10 children. And she had a daughter as well, Charumati. Of all the children, Padumna was the crown prince of Dwaka. So this is the Rukmini Dwaka temple, Rukmini Dwakadish temple in Dwaka. Very famous temple, huge complex, very beautifully organized actually. This is the entrance to that glorious temple. And this is the deity inside. I'm not sure where this deity is. It's one of Rukmini as well. Very beautiful. So that's it, Rukminidevi ki jai. Any questions, any comments?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
just one question. In the sort of a letter that Rukminiji wrote to Krishna, it says as if it appears as if she had known him for ages and ages. The letter, because my sort of prayer for you.
That's right. It does. It does seem like that. But because they are eternal associates of each other. Rukmini is she's present in the spiritual world in that same position. So yes, in one sense they have known each other forever. But at this time, she took birth as Bhishmaka's daughter, and although never met Krishna, she had heard about Krishna's qualities and character. She'd fallen in love with him already. And yet the letter is written as if she's known him forever.
Yes.
And she does, in one sense, she does know him forever.
and the goddess of fortune, is that Lakshmi, isn't it?
Sorry?
The goddess of fortune is Lakshmiji, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. They're the goddesses of fortune, the Lakshmi. Yeah, yeah. And they are the queens, and then we have the third category, which is the gopis. That's right.
Yeah. So Radhika, rather
Yeah.
she was a gopi, was counted as a gopi, foremost of the gopis, but not as a princess, isn't it?
Yes, but she's the source of the queens. Her qualities are even greater than that of the queens.
No, what I'm asking is that she's not known as a princess.
No, not
No,
at all.
not at all, isn't it? Even though
No.
her father was not a king, wasn't it, Vishabhanu?
Vishabhanu, he was a king. Yeah, he was king, wasn't he? He was a king, like Nanda Maharaj, same.
Okay.
But yeah, she's not. Generally, she's regarded as the chief of the gopis, as you said.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Baraben?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Baraben.
You finished, Mataji,
Yes.
finished?
Yeah, yeah.
I did put my hand up earlier.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
It's fine. Not too much. I can remember this session you done last year.
Yes. So a year ago. That's right.
That's right. So it just memorized it again, which was very good. I was out, so I started from halfway. But it's all right. You said there was a picture about it was the temple was completely black. So did you say that temple they got married?
Yes, that's right. This is the one.
Here they got married inside.
Not necessarily
Krishna and
inside.
Rukmini.
Yeah, not necessarily inside. They probably built the temple afterwards.
Oh, they built the temple afterwards. All right, but they got married here. I was going to ask you. That's why. Yeah. So it is quite interesting. And Mataji asked about she wrote the letter, and I can remember that. I think because of listening about Krishna, that he was good and he was nice and he was nice, and that's how I think Rukmani fall in love.
That's it.
And she wanted to get married to Krishna.
That's right. She only heard about him.
And I think he asked Brahman to take the letter.
That's
to
it.
the Krishna.
That's
and
it.
ask get married.
That's right.
Yeah, and then they planned that she will go to the temple, and that's how she was kidnapped.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah.
There's also a pastime of how they get married, because on the way, I can't remember. Do you remember this pastime? On the way to Dwarka, he couldn't enter Dwarka with Rukmini. He wanted to marry Rukmini beforehand. There was a reason for that. Anyway, I've forgotten that. But there's a pastime there as well.
And Narad Muni is always bringing trouble.
Transcendental trouble. He enjoys it. Krishna enjoys.
Yeah.
Krishna enjoys that pastime as well.
Yeah. Okay. Just 1 minute. My husband has come down, so I'll put the video.
Okay.
And
thank you. Okay, so let's stop there. Rukminidevi ki jai, Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai, Dwakadish ki jai.